the press history. So what is the main purpose? So what is the main reason behind to just know so what kind of activities were done? So that will just in this class, just I will just give you the brief introduction. So about the brief history, so overall idea of the media industry, how it's one can how it's been over the period of time it's evolved the history. So that way, just I will start with them in just kind of thing. The way so we did be the kind of invention of the newspaper. So then how yes, yes, somebody has raised a hand. Hari, yes, it's my voice is audible. So yes, somebody has raised their hands. Yeah, I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Right. So thank you. So the basic thing. So in this history of press. So we'll just I will share the PPTs. Yes, we'll start with how the so the history the over the period of time how this been the print media, so how the paper was invented, who invented, how the major milestones in the history of the media, so how it will enter. So just we'll start with the brief history of the how it will be just started. So history of the media. So history. So basically, think before just we're going to know. So we need to explore. So what kind of aspects we kind of highlights we need to just understand the basic in the concept here. Just we need to just understand the history of the communication of how the communication. Human may not just live in isolation. So he has to just interact with the people, not to just explore his ideas and just share his ideas, views, points, his kind of an emotion, passion, everything that can be shared. So then only the communication will establish. The human beings are social elements to share excitement of achieving success at the earlier stage. How to hunting arrows. Yes, somebody is something. Yes, can we have the interaction session? This will so that can I can know better. So what is the background? So how just we can more be interactive, so that we can just have the dialogue and the kind of communication between. So there should be interaction. There should be two-way communication. So it's we are in the age of interactive TV, interactive communication. So it is in everything is instant and very fast. So just we'll go with them in just a little bit interaction. So may I know so the basic background of your background, so that we can just move ahead. So we just moving further. So just I want to know interact with the one by one. So I'm stopping this slide so that we can just understand that on how it will be just. Yes, starting with the Hari. So Hari, yes, little bit have the interaction. So see your background. So that we can just be able to just establish kind of communication, so that I can understand the background. So that can be really easy to just after understanding just go through the how it's format, how it will be beneficial, how it will be just let you live, let me know explore so the background of these things. Yes, starting with the Hari. No. uh
Sir, hi, sir. Hello, sir.
yes, sorry.
Sir, myself, Hari, sir.
Right. So you are working or just somewhere you're a student?
Sir, I'm now working, sir.
Okay, so in a media industry or just
Nothing, sir. I'm just, I will do land survey, sir, digital land surveyor.
okay, right. So next, be topper Naresh. Yes,
Yeah.
Naresh.
Am I audible now?
Yes, clear.
Hey, very good evening. Sorry, good morning, guys. Happy to share with you my tables of the history of myself. I am Naresh Saturi from Warangal region. I
Okay,
worked as a local Hanmakunda region wide as a Hanmakunda bureau reporter called online paper. It's called Akshara Shakti,
okay, great.
and I'm very happy to share my announcement. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to introduce myself, Mohammed sir.
Yeah, great.
So
So great.
so
Yes, happy
glad
to
to
just hear from you. So we'll just work together. So just have them this communication will understand better. Yes,
so
next,
connect.
Sri Lakshmi. Yes, can we continue the interaction? Shall I just get into this? Going to the lecture. So will you just me just continue the lecture, or just can we have the interaction? So you all decide so that can make it just instead of wasting time. So it's a valuable time. So instead of so that can make it go straight away. Then is to the lecture. Yes, somebody is okay. So don't want to interact with me, right? Okay.
No, not moving.
Yes. So history of the say how to say whatever that. So as we know, so human beings are social animals to share the excitement of achieving success at the huntings and whatever the sorrows, what kind of ideas, what kind of experience, whatever the emotion, what are the feelings that need to be just communicated, that need to be shared with the people. So to call the so maybe kind of thing that need to communicate, that share the information. You how to just go on. So how the social beings, so how you just started the communicating with the other people, the other tribe in the in ancient, just starting with the ancient periods, how it will communication started. So how the people started to just communicate, how to just pass this ideas, is pass it, whatever is with thoughts or through uh, expressions. Earlier there will be not comment, there will only verbal communication. There will be yes. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, sorry. That way, so people just started just identifying as well as what is the important of communication. So why we need to just communicate. So since we cannot stay alone, we cannot be in isolation. So in society, we so whatever is happening around, whatever it is, something is happened. So some kind of experiment somewhere we are just going. So we have seen some kind of thing, some kind of new incidents. So that we need to immediately we need to share with them. So right now we have this mobile technology that will just call and just to friends, or maybe the next who will just will share the information what we have seen, the incidents, what kind of activities, what that kind of everything, the emotion, the feeling kind of even it is joy, it is the emotion that way they can able to share with the other people, persons in the same community, the same tribe. That way it happen in the ancient period. Today, just as human being, we are learned to just communicate in every aspect of our lives. So, intimate relationship, social, political, survival, the transfer of knowledge and the traditions, spiritual and philosophical beliefs and business, although the written and spoken language. So we are in the era of just, advanced technology. So we are instant communication, we are instant interactive. So we have very more specific advanced technology that made us to just have the more interaction that can be have immediately, instantly. So that way, even we have this artificial intelligence, so that can they can also interact. So they well programmed, so that can whatever the see it will be suppose it will be about the banking, it will about kind of any activity, it will be kind of any services. So there will be just employing one person, or will be artificial intelligence person that will be able to just interact with the person, that whatever the sorrows, what kind of grievances we have, it will be able to just first understand. So what via the internet, what kind of services we are just asking for. So immediately it will react and it will redirect to the particular person. So that particular person respond, and that way. So our grievances will be heard and our message will be delivered. So that kind of activity, that kind of age, when we have just artificial intelligence age, that will be more interactive kind of thing. So that we immediately understanding the whatever the problems, whatever the grievances, the way that we communicating. So that way even also So when we have in the there are so many services that dial 100 Vedas, the 108 Vedas. So there have been pre mobiles and any kind of customer care services. Everything will be instantly just able to speak, and whatever the problems we have, just we can able to just get the solution for this. So before just we go into this detail, the kind of way. So the history, so just maybe most of the view, so having the background of the history, so maybe I have studied the graduation level and post-graduation level, basic history. So the history, so we go into the details of how the evolution has taken place. So we'll divide the history, the ancient history, medieval history, and modern history, and the present history. So that way it will we divide the history. So we just learn. So in ancient history, how the people just used to just communicate, used to just share their ideas. So then how the medieval period has happened. So what kind of activities do happen in the during the medieval period, and then the modern India and the history, modern India. So after the the pre-independence and post-independence, the activities of the press, how the evolution of the press, how the importance and significance of the press got prominence in the particular during the pre and post-independence. So on the present, what is the status of the present industry, media industry? That we will discuss. So it will divide it in the history in 4 parts. So moving on to this, we are just thinking about them going to the ancient period. So ancient people of India have a continuous civilization since the prehistoric age of 4001 BC. So when the first people of the world began to just live in, so that kind of way it will started. So we'll see. So most of the civilization happened. We can speak about the Egypt. We speak about the our Hindu civilizations. Will consider the most modern civilization. So how the people this civilization started. So in a prehistoric people, how the history is began. So moving on to the next slide. So initially they tried to see what might. Yes, they initially gathered in the north part of India. So hunting was their main profession. So earlier, so hunting was considered as the main profession. So they were able to just go for hunting daily. So they will just collect the flesh and just preserve it and just have the kind of their profession was only the hunting. So after a long time, so in 4000 BC, they moved to the Indus River Valley and took farming as their main profession. So first was hunting. So so then after course they just moved to the river, Indus Valley rivers. They have been just established their they've been dwelling there. Just they able to just side by a river, so that they also identified the agriculture as the main profession. The farming will be farming activity we just taken into practice. So that way it will just the first is the hunting, next is the how it will just farming will identify the importance of the farming or the farming activities. So as a hunter-gatherers settled into the small villages and began to plan ahead for how to plan, store, protect, and trade or sell their food, they needed accounting system to just keep track of their materials and records transactions. So that is the way. So they as the hunter-gatherers or farming, so whatever they produce, whatever they just they got crop from the whatever through farming. So they need to just preserve. They need to just preserve as well. Need to just sell. Want to trade with the other tribal people. So that the kind of the accounting system keep the track. So whatever the how much quantity they have produced, how they have to store, how to transact with the people. So how to record the transactions, got the identification. So how to just preserve all these activities. So that will they thought them how so these activities will be required. So that identification, as well as selling became more kind of thing. So we see them in Mujun, the way the system. So how they have identified, how they just required this kind of activities that should be preserved, as well as when they have need to sell their product to the other tribes, other people, other region people. So while such transactions were initially tracked with the actual objects that symbolized an amount. So the kind of objects there will be initially they will be used like pebbles to represent in to measure the grains and maybe symbols likely to just carved into a clay. So later serve as the primary method of recording, record keeping kind of thing. So that way, so they want to just sell their, they want to just measure. So how much it will weigh, how it will be sold, how it will be preserved. So that initially they have used the pebbles to just measure the. So how much product, how much quantity it's they have produced. So that way, so they started keeping the weighing of a particular product. So that we're kind of taking the pebbles as a measure to just what kind of crop weight is there, particularly at the crops. I mean, there have been crop season. So that's the way how to just started initially the pebbles. The ancient period begins with the Indus Valley civilization in 2300 BC. So unique contribution of IVC to this Indian communication system was the interaction of the seals made of terracotta and stone. So that kind of, so who are you? So what kind of a image, what kind of a resemblance, who belongs to which community you belongs to, that kind of basis, that kind of identification, that kind of image, they're able to using the terracotta. They just started, just giving the seeds to the whatever they produce, whatever they've done. Give me 1 minute, somebody is calling continuously. Yes, sorry for that. Can you be sorry for the this in between? This somebody is continuously calling. That's why I pick up the phone. The answer. Yeah. So the ancient periods, as we said, so that the importance of the identification, the kind of a seal, just developed so the way, so it will just identify the so identification, so how the particular tribe is identified, how the particular tribe or maybe particular sect of people or particular those who are living in the different regions. So that will be just they thought about their identification, so how they will be identified. So they have used the seals, so that can made use of stone and as well as terracotta material. So that way the way it's just first thinking about the identification. Next, there were tools of communication for both communication and information. The nearest equivalent term for history used in Sanskrit literature is itihasa, which literally means thus it was, so it has been. So the kind of way, yes, the kind of way it will just word. So the word itihasa, it's thus it has, so it has happened. It has been. So that kind of way. So that will through itihasa, the first language will just develop the Sanskrit language. The purpose of Itihasa was to refer to the event of the past in such a manner as would relate them to this, the goals and purpose of the Hindu tradition. So that way, the way particularly, so they need to just what kind of a purpose, what kind of a goals of a Hindu tradition has, what kind of cultures, what kind of a activity, what kind of a rituals, what kind of a tradition they have. That kind of they need to just carry on. They need to just focus. They need to just put forward to the next generation. That kind of a way they will be inscribed. That will be in the palm wheels. That will just circulated. Will be carry forward to the next generation. That kind of initial tools of communication is developed. So Vedas are the most important source of information on the Vedic age. So the Vedic age marks a new phase in ancient Indian history, which began the arrival of Aryans in India around 1500 BC. So that way, the source of so Vedas. So next is Itihasa, next Vedas. So became the source of information for Vedic age. So how it will be just, so what kind of activities there. So that will be written on the palm leaves. So that will be forward to next person. So that will be considered as a beginning of this Indian history. So how it will just pass to next generation. So later Vedic literature comprises of the following books, that is the three Vedas: Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Athar Veda. So the Athar Veda, each Veda, each kind of Veda will be able to just replicate kind of activities, kind of literature, kind of the important significance about the culture, the kind of a tradition, that kind of each Veda its significance glorifies kind of activities that we able just three Vedas will glorify the kind of just narrate, just give the what kind of what kind of activities, what kind of the people will practice, so that through these Vedas they will able to just able to highlight, able to just tell the tradition of the particular era, particular region, and particular things that will be done. So what kind of measures we have to take as in if suppose a particular situation arises, what kind of activities, that kind of measures they have just keep on in a book format that will just in a three Vedas and just circulated the to the next generation among the people. So next, in the historical tradition grew out of the variety of literature forms current during the Vedic period. So of these, most significant were the Gathas songs. So it will be considered the Gathas songs, the kind of a loris, the kind of importance of the Rajas, or importance of the local tribe persons, head persons. They will narrate the kind of their glory, how they are just found, what kind of a personality they have. So through songs, they will just able to just highlight the particular person. So maybe particular region, particular head person, particular culture. So next, Narasimha's eulogy of the heroes. So then the kind of those heroes, those particular regions. That will be next. Vyakhyanas, the dramatic narratives. So then these kind of gathas, Narasimha, and as well as Vyakhyanas and the Puranas, the ancient lords. So that way, the kind of a communication, the kind of way, the kind of the glory of the particular region, particular personality, particular dramatic, how the particular persons are able to just behave. Suppose there will be we'll speak about the Chanakya, speak about the persons who the Chandragupta ages, how Chanakya able to interact with the Chandragupta, what kind of activities. Suppose the Raja, how to be more benevolent, more appearance in public, how it should be appear in public when we are speaking to the court persons, the people, so how it just behave, what kind of activities, that will be narrated through dramatic ways, the Vyakhyanas. And the kind of Puranas, the kind of lore, ancient lore. So we have been folk and traditions through that will be Tamasha. And also right over the period of time, Tamasha, Burakatha, Harikatha, Dautanki. So different regions will have different names. So that will be able to just give you the identification, the kind of narration of the particular hero, particular region, particular person through this this kind of forms to just narrate and explore and just give the what kind of activities. Next, the kind of the two epics. So we'll just the kind of a two next the move on to just two famous epics, the Ramayana, Mahabharata. Include the elements of the historical tradition, which arose largely from the attempts to provide the antecedents and in order to just connect the origin of the tribes and geographical location with the heroes of epics and the genealogical sections to indicate the relationship at various levels between the gods and the heroes. So we know, so Ramayana, Mahabharata. So what kind of, so even we'll give the kind of slogans. So Ramraj, why we give the kind of even more popular Ramraj? Why Ramraj is more popular? Because people is in welfare state. So the Raja of the particular Ayodhya, so able to just understand the people's sufferings, people's the kind of grievances. He immediately just able to just solve the grievances and able to just reach to the public people and able to speak and hear them kind of activity, the way the interaction, the kind of establishment, the kind of welfare state he has brought, the way how he ruled the how ruled the region. So that's why he's believed as a god, the kind of activity, the kind of measures he has taken. So he's considered as more kind of popular Raja of the Ayodhya, and as well as he's been able to establish the welfare states where people have more happy. So they feel always have the happiness. So suppose there will be say, so happy family, so happy society. Happy society means happy country. Happy country means happy world. So that kind of measurement, that kind of attitude, that kind of welfare activities that will able to just import, that able to just give through his activities, through kind of taking the measures, keeping in view of the local persons or the regional persons. So what kind of thoughts, what kind of identifying, understanding the particular persons of the territory and just reaching to them and solving his problems and making the people happy. So that kind of activities has, that way we call that the Ramraj. Now we need to establish Ramraj. That is the main intention of the Ramraj, the word, the slogan that will just go on resounding so throughout the India. So that's the main kind of things. Next we thought about the Mahabharata. So how here this what kind of dharmas, what kind of role the king has to just perform, what kind of the relationship, it will be the women and men relationship, it may be the brothers relationship, or it will be kind of the bond, the kind of the rule, the kind of everything. So through Mahabharata we'll just know the what kind of activity, what kind of a role the particular Kauravas and Pandavas have. So what kind of relationship they have developed. So why, what kind of activity, why they are involved in kind of a game that will be able to just Kauravas to go for the kind of so how it will be happen. So we know the Mahabharata, the kind of it will speak about the relationships. So they speak about the good and bad. So whom should we support, who should not support, the dharma. So which what dharma says. So how to just human beings have to behave. See, in a particular situation. So it will be, so whether we are following a dharma, whether we are following the good things, whether we are following the bad things, we are in the campaign. So what I mean, whether we have the good friends or whether have the bad relationship, whether they have the bad friends, that kind of activity, that kind of movement, that kind of relations, it will able to establish, it will able to just narrate the story. So how it will happen in the history, how it will just able to just know. So what kind of activities they happen. So which why Pandavas was why they taken the dharma, why they the Pandavas was follow the dharma. Why the Kauravas not follow the dharma? The kind of activities. What is the importance of the things? So whatever the measures, what kind of activities they have them. So we'll know. So the Mahabharata. So through that is the communication that we'll able to just know. So what kind of things happened earlier. So how we need to just follow the dharma, the kind of good things in life. So next, epics, according to some historians, it was composed around some 3000 years BC. So it was believed that around it was composed in 3000 BC. So political communication was highly evolved to deal with the finer aspects of international relationship, including the trade, commercial relationship. In the Sundara Kanda of Ramayana, Hanuman is selected as the ambassador of the court of Ravana to deliver the message from Sugriva and his ally Sri Rama to return to Sita. So that kind of a message, the kind of a external, that kind of a diplomatic measures, that kind of a diplomatic activities in the role, in the form of Hanuman, how he reached the Ravana, how he is appeal, how he is not appealing, how he is passed the message of the Rama to just return the Sita. So kind of the diplomatic relationship with the other countries, the other regions, the kind of way it will just establish the political relationship, the international relationships, the other relationship, the able to just every in Rama and every the Sundarakanda especially just specifically mentioned that how Hanuman is taken the message from the Ramayana, how he reached the Ravana and how he passed the message. That can be the diplomatic interrelation should be able to establish. Next, great Itihasas about Mahabharata also proved that several great monarchs of the time also upheld interstate relationship. Sri Krishna led a diplomatic mission to the court of Kauravas at Hastinapuram to plead the case of the Pandavas. So here also just some epics. So we'll talk about them in Mahabharata as well. So the Krishna, how just been reached, how he acted, how he just been delivered the message to the Kauravas. So just keeping them in the court. So what kind of an interaction, the interstate relationships on the kind of a dharma, the kind of activity, the kind of which needs to be the message to be passed to the Kauravas. So that way, so Krishna, so that he's went on the diplomatic mission. So that way we'll even have the diplomatic or international relation or interstate relationship. That is, kind of epics, and this epics. It has Ramayana, Mahabharata, how to just give you the way it will just the political activity, the interstate relationship, it will how it will happen. Next, as been just Malhan in 92 illustrate the religious places of the worship employed every available medium of communication in that particular period. In addition, so bathing places are tanks, river banks, and seashores and chowpals also act as a form of communication. It is also evident that education institution equally played a significant role in activating the process of communication in India in the past. So that kind of so if you go, just say riverside, it may be the inscriptions just on the rocks. They will be just highlighting the Rajas, the personality, or maybe the kind of the activities of the particular Raja, or maybe what kind of the measures or how to just behave. So through these are the forms of communication that will establish at the river banks as well as seashores, so the bathing places, so that can what kind of message they will able to just inscribe on the stones that will be able people able to read, and those able to just get the message, the main intention of this inscriptions on the rocks, that will able to just highlight the what kind of a form of information, what kind of a message it will delivered on the rocks. This also evidence education, even education institutions also just played activating the process of communicating the people. So next we talk about the Maurya period. So the period was germane to the evolution of the major political and social institution in ancient period. So the way, so the kind of the evolution of the kind of a Maurya period. So evolve the Puranic texts which were compiled or rewritten from the time of Guptas, that is in the 4th century AD. So it will mean way back we go to the Puranic texts that will be able compiled, so rewritten, and just the Gupta's period, how they have ruled, so how the monarch, how the emperor, the kind of a particular region, the head, so how we able to just interact the people, how we able to just deliver the message, what sort of the messages, how sort of the information they able to just give to the people. So how this proclamation about the any kind of a law, any kind of message you want to just give to the people, or maybe the reform to just bring about the reforms, just cause the message, ask the people just gather at whatever particular places, and there will be proclamations about the any kind of a message that will be happen that through this written text. That will just know with the historians compiled. That will be we understand the period, particular periods, how the activities or reforms are taken place in the during that particular period. So just move on to this medieval period. So that will be if you just wanted to just start to someone who was far away, who had to just write them a letter and send it by private messages. That kind of messengers. So that way, the messenger, the passing of the writing the information, you want just deliver the message, you want to pass on information to the far away persons. So it will be written in the letter format. It will be just sent by the messenger. That way, it will just able to just communicate with the other region. So a letter was written in the parchment, a skin of a sheep or a goat. So with a ink made of a soot mixed with the gum or acid or a goose quill pen. So using this goose quill pen, so they will able to just on the goat skin that will be retained, and that will kind of a symbols that will be put on that, and so that can the particular letter which belong to the particular community, particular person, particular king, so that can identify. So the message will be just delivered through messenger. That kind of way communication in medieval India so happens. So sending the messenger, passing on the information to the person who has been intended to, so the maybe it may be related to the next territory who is just want to just convey the message, convey these ideas, convey what kind of what he intended to, what kind of activity he is expecting from the other neighboring states or maybe the faraway persons. So that way, able to just through this letter form, they able to just communicate and deliver the message through messenger. Next, we talk about the Mughal period. So that so Muslims ruled the medieval period of India. So historically, it was also known as the Mughal period. The establishment of the Mughal rule in India saw the organization of communication along with more advanced lines. That kind of so little bit just improved the kind of information. Improve, we say, can say in the Mughal period, a little bit improved. So instead of the oral tradition of the announcements by the town, the criers and the written reports were now in the circulation. So written reports were circulation. So instead of this, there will be so even if you speak about the suppose in kind of proclamation, in kind of information you want to just deliver. So in South Africa, they will just ignite the fire. So the smokes go on air. So the people will identify the particular process. There is some kind of a proclamation that the particular tribe head wants to assemble at a particular place. That's why they will just ignite the smoke, ignite the fire, and the smoke. They will identify the smoke, and they will people will assemble. And there will be trumpets. They will blow the trumpet or a drum beat. So that they will one form of a communication through that the people something is announcement is going on there. So we need to go there. We need to assemble there. So that kind of information, that kind of a form of communication was there. So that they will ask the people to come there and just establish they will go and assemble them. They will the headsman or the representative of the Raja. I will just come and just will just proclaim what kind of an announcement, what kind of measures, what kind of information they want. So that kind of form of communication was earlier there. So then there will be just written formats. There will just the Mughal period they developed the written formats that will put into circulation to know. So what kind of activity, what the ruler is thinking about the people. So what kind of a measure is intended to just take. So make so kind of activities written in the form. So Mughal emperor or the Aurangzeb so established an efficient system of information offices, news writers. So first they have just identified the system. So they will just identify the one person should be interested, the responsibility to write the activities, whatever happened at the regional level, at local level, so that can it will be just preserved, it will be just passed on to the head, passed on to the ruler. So that is the way. The first thing is during the Mughal period, specifically during the Aurangzeb period. So the system information office was established. News writers were appointed. The Bureau of Intelligence maintained in every provincial capitals. So at the local level, head level, the district level, provincial level. So these news writers known as the Vakya Nakvis. So Vakya Navis. So the Vakya Navis means the kind of Vakya means the kind of a Vakya, the kind of incident, the kind of way. So they will just Vakya Navis, they will narrate the story. So what have happened at the regional level, at the provincial level, they will read they will just see and just write the information in a particular format. So who are responsible for the recording the occurrence of the important events in the districts are made to just file reports to the headquarters of the administration. So that way, so Vakya Navis, so that will be able to narrate the, just see the event and just write the particular incidents in the words. That will be, they are just also interested to just whatever they written the information that will pass on to the headquarters of the administration. So that will in a particular way, so they will able to establish, they will be able to preserve. So what kind of incident, what kind of activities happen. So that will be passed, that will be keep in the, one more thing here, just we need to identify, we need to just discuss about the, there also the library, they are also during the period, they were also establish the library system. So whatever the information they gather through newswriters, the narrated the incidents, the kind of activity that they were preserved in the libraries, and that will be referred as a book. So what kind of incident, suppose one incident happened, so they will see. So suppose one particular incident happened, so what kind of a measure the Raja has taken, the ruler has taken to, in order to just cope up with the, to understand the better, to understand the people of the local or provincial region. So according to that, he will able to just deliver his message according to take the information provided by the news writers. He will take the information and make the reforms accordingly. So that way, the kind of news writers was given more prominent in the particular during this Mughal period. So news writers work in liaison with the governor or local administrative officials, presenting them in a favorable light to the central authorities. The chronicles commissioned by the Mughal emperors are important source for studying the empire and its course. So that kind of whenever they want to make any reforms, first they go through the reports. Then only they will be able to they take a decision. That is the main kind of the way the newsreaders played crucial role during this period. So next, moving on to next one, the chronicles commissioned the Mughal emperors are important for studying source that their titles such as they're also they started the trend. So the Rajas will started to just try to just biography. He employed one particular person to write what kind of activities he has taken during his tenure. So that can be as with their titles as such as Akbar Nama, Sahajan Nama, Alamgir Nama. That is the story of Akbar, Shah Jahan, and Alamgir. So that is of Mughal ruler, so Aurangzeb. So Alamgir is the title of the Aurangzeb. This suggests that in the eyes of their authors, the history of the empire and the court was synonymous with that of a particular emperor. So they employ a particular person, particular interested with the responsibility to write. So whatever the glory of the particular Raja, so how he ruled, what kind of measures he has taken during his period, so how he is more reachable to the people, so how he will be able to just go and visit the different places, so what kind of so what he observed, how he interacted with the people, so that kind of everything will be written in the particular format, so in a biography. So that will be, so that kind of ministry, so it will show the Akbar Nama, it will just Shah Jahan Nama, so Alangir Nama. So that is the way that the books is written during this period. So that will be giving the references to the next generation people. So that is the main importance. That is the way the newsletters, as well as the specific persons who are interested, responsible to write the biography of the particular ruler at the particular time. So that's the kind of thing. So then all the books in Mughal India were manuscripts. That is, they were handwritten. the center of manuscript production was Imperial Kitab Khana. So it is called the library. It is called the Kitab Khana library. Although Kitab Khana can be translated as a library, it was scriptorium. So that is a place where emperor's collection of manuscripts was kept and new manuscripts were produced. That way, so it will be Kitab Khana, the library where it will be preserved. So whenever required, they will just get and just go through the information, and they will make a judgment, take a decision on a different aspect, different kind of activities. That is the way Kitab Khana was the main intention to establish a library. It's called a library. So though everything will be, so whatever the information they get from the provincial government through newsletter, what they narrated, it will be preserved, it will be compiled in a Kitab Khana, and wherever it necessary, they will get the file, and they will get the report and go through this one. So that is a kind of importance they will during this period. Next. Yes, this is the manuscripts, how it is preserved in the Kitab Khana. So next we'll think about the though media and reporting were practiced during the Mughal times in India. The press in a modern sense came into existence in the early part of the 19th century. So we just think about, just move ahead the modern India. So when you talk about the modern India, how it will just exist, how the first newspaper, how it will just came, the identifications or invention of the newspaper by China. So how to just first the newspaper, it was, the Bible verses will be written on the first, when paper is invented, then that will be the first thing. It will be just printed was, Bible verses that will be just put onto the printing, just written on the paper, then it will circulate. So that way, the first 19th century we saw the existence of the modern sense. It will be kind of, the kind of handwritten on the paper. It will just discover the first newspaper bulletins. Newspapers were bulletins brought by the officials of East India Company, mainly as a means of exchanging the gossips or to aid the grievances. So both the things. So when during the East India Company, they first identified, they started to print. So it will be in the form of, it will be just about the gossips that is been happening in the British India Company, as well as the grievances of the people. So that will be first. Initially, they were printed this in the form of the bulletins, in the form of the short. It will be tablet. It may be kind of right now we'll say it's brochure kind of thing. So it will be a brochure kind of thing. It will be a leaflet kind of thing. Earlier, it will be one sheet paper. That one sheet paper, it will be printed about the the material matter. So about the gossips as well as the grievances. Next, the Bengal. So we'll just move on to who just brought the first newspaper, Bengal Harku, the Bengal Hikis Gazette. What are the examples? The company authorities did try to just curb this, but it was essentially an exchange of ideas between his British employees and the management. So then Raja Ram Mohan Rai, one of the men responsible for the infusion of new ideas in the country, also started the first nationalist newspaper. It was called the Miratul Akbar. So that way, Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So when Bengal Gazette was first started in 1780, initially in Bengal, the first paper was brought out. The first paper was initially started printing in the Bengal. The name was Bengal Gazette. So the company, then after that, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the Indian person, the Bengal-based person, so Raja Mohan Rai also responsible for the infusion of new ideas in the country, and also started first national. It was called first nationalist paper. It was called the Miratul Akbar. That way he will started. It's a Persian paper that he will started from the Bengal soil. So so the 1957 event signaled the diminishing power of the middle classes like jamindaris, and the rise of the new middle classes belonging to the professions who had received the new Western style education. So next, Mahatma Gandhi's Harijan, Ramanand Chatterjee's Modern Review can be mentioned as examples. Writers such as Bengal Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in 1938 and to 1894, so attacked the colonialism. So how it will just created their own brand of nationalism. That way, so we'll talk just after the event 1859, 1957. So it will first mutiny. So that kind of way, so the kind of middle class, the diminishing power of the middle feudal classes like jamindaris, and the rise of the new middle classes, belonging to the professions who had received the new Western style of education, like Mahatma Gandhi. So Ramanand Chatterjee, Bengal Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, 1938 and to 1894. So attacked the colonialism. So how it will just created their own brand of nationalism. That way, so we'll Mahatma Gandhi Harijan. So it will start with Harijan, vegetarian, young India. So papers on Ramchandra Chatterjee, the kind of a modern review can be mentioned as example of this. How the middle class persons who just get the education from the West and is able to just rebuild the nationalism in India. So able to just attack the colonial rule. So how the Britishers were the kind of activities, the kind of suppression measures they have just done, the kind of activities they have committed against the Indian people. That way, they will just through this newspaper medium, they will try to just highlight the grievances. Next, move on to next medium. The company had installed the printing press in Mumbai in 1674 and provided the general supply of the types of newspaper as well. The kind of way it will start in Mumbai. So another press was installed in Madras in 72. So an official printing press was established in Kolkata in 1779. So official printing press was established in 1779. So it is significant in this context that the first attempt to start a newspaper in Kolkata was made in 1976 by William Bowles, who had resigned from the company's service earlier that year and after censure by the Court of Directors for private trade under the company's authority. So first William Bowles was attempted to just print so based in Calcutta. He was started to just start a first paper at the Calcutta. First is the first person who's attempted. Next, James August Hickes started the Bengal Gazette or Calcutta General Advertiser, in the first issue of which he introduced himself as the late printer to the Honorable Company. So how it will first, it will consider that James August was the first person who is considered as the first who brought the first newspaper in India, so based in Calcutta. So it is the Bengal Gazette or Calcutta General Advertiser, the first issue which introduced himself as the late printer to the Honorable Company. Two-sheet newspaper devoted the considerable space to scurrilous attacks on the private lives of the servants of the company, including the Governor General Warren Hastings himself. So a personal attack on the purse and the Swedish missionary and John Jakaria commander, and soon landed in the Hikku in trouble. So this kind of so whatever that they have, so his personal attack the particular person's Hastings that will land him in trouble. So just go on, since he belongs to them in the British India Company, but still he identified the what kind of atrocities, what kind of activities they have done. So they just continuously condemn the kind of activities. So in the form of newspapers that will able to attract the ire of the British government. So he just landed in trouble. So Harku was sentenced to just 4 months imprisonment and a fine of 500 rupees. So during during that particular days, 500 rupees is a huge amount. That way, he will be able to just attract the ire of the whole. Next, the first newspaper in Madras, the Madras Courier, came into existence in 1785 as an official recognized newspaper founded by the Richard Johnson, the government printer. So, was the first next in southern India, the Madras was the epicenter. So, after the Kolkata, then it will next in Madras, the first paper. So, it will be considered the first newspaper in southern region. So was started by Richard Johnson. The Madras Courier continued without completed till 1795. So when R. Williams started the Madras Gazette, followed by a few months later by the Indian Herald, which was published without authority by one Humphreys, who was arrested for the unauthorized publication but escaped from the ship on which he was deported to England. So he also just William. Then also he was Humphrey also arrested, who was not getting taken the permission to just print the newspaper. That way he was arrested and deported to the London. So that way how the history. So just started just with just think about this, discuss about know. So ancient history, so medieval India, how it will just communication this happened, how the information, the delivery message, delivery and the message are getting the information from the local people and just compiling the news writing written formats in the kitab khana, how they were able to the local the head or maybe the political person who are able to retrieve and able to just go through and just make decisions. Then how the modern people in modern India, how the James it is how it will start it. So what kind of activities, how we will just get the thing will happen. So everything just we know. the censorship was first introduced in 1795, when the Madras Gazette was required to submit all general orders of the government for scrutiny by the military secretary before publication. So there were kind of a censorship was introduced in 1795. So whatever the material, whatever the printed information is need to just go through the pre-censorship, it will be submitted to the government for scrutiny. So by the military secretary for publication. So need to just publish any kind of article, any kind of information, any kind of a message. First, it will just go for my pre-censorship. Then it will be just allowed. Then it will be go for my publication. So Bombay's first newspaper, the Mumbai Herald, came into existence in 1989. So the Courier, which was published a year later, carried advertisement in Gujarati. The Mumbai Gazette was published in 1791, and the Mumbai Herald was merged into it the following year. So the merging will happen. So being recognized for the purpose of officially notifications and advertisement in the same terms as the Madras Courier. So it will be just follow the Madras Courier format of Madras Courier type of a presentation. So that will merge and just with the kind of page will present like the Bengal Herald. This is the way. So earlier newspapers, the newspaper that restricted the editor who is the main editor. So Bengal Herald, the William Hunter, so operator, the William Hunter was the editor. So he was the account is a printer. So Morning Post that way will be available on our supplied material as well as so the Telegraph, the Kolkata Courier, the Oriental Star, the Indian Gazette, the Asiatic Mirror. So this is the persons who are the owner, who are the editor. So how it will start, who is the printer, this kind of information is there. So we can just know from your book as well as so this no. So today just winding up this class. So if you have any doubts, you can ask on. It's open to you. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So no doubts. So shall I believe that's been my lecture is delivered, understood? Right. So I'm waiting. So if anybody have any doubts, so it's open to just ask. Just 2 minutes. We will be having the another class. Yes, any doubts? No? Okay, Chan. Chalo, night. So we'll meet you next class. Thank you.